Okay, friends and relatives, thank you for joining us this morning. We are live now, and I am coming to you from Lame Deer, Montana. And today it's cold, really cold. We're supposed to get, I think within the next few days, the temperature is supposed to continuously drop to minus 17 and, even more with the wind chill factor. So it's pretty cold over here this morning. We got lots of snow, which it's so beautiful, the mountains, the foothills. So I'm thankful for that because we really haven't had, with climate change, you could really see it. We haven't had much of a winter. So I want to thank you all for joining us this morning. We took a few weeks break. So thank you for, joining us again this morning. We're back with Yellowbird's Food Sovereignty Program, Food for Thought. My name is Lynette Tuples, Duenya Kiapiwi. I'm coming to you from the Northern Cheyenne Reservation, as I said, in Lame Deer, Montana. And today we're really honored to have our guest with us today. And we have, a really good lineup of guests coming in the next few weeks. And with our guest today, she's going to be back with us twice this month. So we're really excited about that. And next week we have a special program with Valentine's Day. And so we have some individuals who are very active in our Indigenous communities and vocal and standing up for, the rights of Mother Earth, standing up for, and through their music and through their songs. And so they're going to come and debut and premiere one of their songs that they created. And this song is called Remedy. And it talks about, how do you remedy where we're at, and it's all about reconnecting back to, who we are and our Indigenous roots, and food sovereignty is a part of that. And so I asked them to come on. So that will be next week. So I hope you come back next week and join us. But today we have a special guest, Mashke and White Hat. And I have a lot of respect for her and her family and her father, who was, we were very close with him, Albert White Hat, and he was a mentor, to myself and to, my partner, Chief Philip Whiteman Jr. And, we released a video, and Albert is on that video, talking about, the video was about horses, about the horse nation. But Albert was talking about the animal nations and how, we really don't have a word for animal in our Lakota languages. It's like there's no word for that. There are relatives. And so he shared a lot about that, but that just shows his philosophy. And that's, that's Anne's father. And so if you think, those are all the teachings that were passed down from him through her. And, just before we came on, we talked about, the way that our family made for us, like the way her father made for her, and my grandparents and my mother, the way they made for me, continuing that legacy in our own way and following our own gifts. And so that's what I really admire, about Anne, as she's done that. And I've been following her for many years, her career, and just seeing, and now today she's down in Louisiana, such a very different climate from the plains state. But I'm just going to share a little bit of information about her. Anne White Hat Ohitikiwawi is a member of the Ashke Gluwipi Tioshpaye of the Lakota and a direct descendant of Chief Hollow Horn Bear. She is the proud mother of 3, a community organizer, board member of the Lakota Wellness Society, a founding member of the Indigenous Women's Advisory Council, and I don't want to say this incorrectly, and she is And okay, where did I go here? A founding member of the Indigenous Women's Advisory Council of the Lu'e-Lavi No Bayou Bridge Pipeline Resistance Camp. Member of another Gulf is Possible collaborative, a gardener, a member of We Can Dig, Delta Indigenous Gardeners, and founding organizer of Delta Roots, a collective of herbalists and folks who love to work with plants, providing COVID care packages to Indigenous communities. White Hat Botanicals is her trade name, featuring what she calls her community-determined herbal remedies and botanicals. She is a grant writer by trade, community organizer out of love for her people, jack of all trades by hustle, and blessed to work with plants for you. I love that. And, that goes back to, those teachings, the philosophy. One of the things that my grandparents always told me is whatever you do, do it for the people. Whatever you do in your life, do it for the people. And that just kind of reminded me of that same teaching, that she carries in her life. And I remember years ago when Anne was part of the, I think was it the Indigenous Women's Network? Were you a part of that organization? Yeah, and all the work that they did. That was, 25 years ago, or, maybe even more than that. But she's done a lot in her life, and I'm really proud of her, and I'm really honored, to call her Mashke, honored that she's here with us today. So, welcome, Anne.
Hello, Midakuyapi, Chante Washte Nape Chuzapi, Ohitika Wimie, and White Hat Machiapiksto. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me to your program and for thinking of me and to share the work that we're doing down here in Louisiana right now. I'm from Rosebud, like you say. I'm from Rosebud, South Dakota, Lakota. My dad is Albert White Hat Sr. and my mom is Isabel Bear Shield Guru. I grew up in the Black Hills and out west of St. Francis. We call it out west.
We always say they're ahead of us. They think they're ahead of us 1 hour. They're in another time zone, so it's kind of an inside joke between the Oglala and the Sijapu.
I'm putting these back on again, my earphones. It's a little bit easier to hear you with them on. So so thanks for having me here, and I'm glad folks are, if you're tuning in, hello from South Louisiana. I'm here in Bulbuncha. This is a local indigenous word for the area now known as New
Orleans. Originally,
and can you hear me now? Sorry, my microphone changed. Yeah, I think you can hear me better. Okay. Yeah. So the land here was, inhabited by many tribes of the South. Came to the river because this follows at the end of the Mississippi River. So this was a huge trade area. So Bobancha means the land of many languages. So that's where I'm at. I've been here for about 11 years now with my 3 kids, and so I'm here to share some of the work that I've been doing. With our plants and medicine work. I think I might share just a little brief history about how I came into this work. You mentioned the Indigenous Women's Network years and years ago. This was like in the late 1900s, y'all. It's a late 1900s, long time ago. But we did. I like to say it was BC and before
Yeah, we're
children.
aging ourselves now.
Yeah, and BC and before children. And I was with the Indigenous Women's Network, and at that time I'd just come out of college, and I was interested in working and studying medicinal herbs and plants. And I couldn't find a place in the United States at that time that had and featured any of the teachings of Indigenous women. And that's where I really wanted to learn from. So I set out to just seek that kind of internships, that kind of knowledge, and Indigenous Women's Network really helped pull that together for me, in a sense, with some training there with the late Marcia Gomez, who ran the Alma de Mujer Center and hosted a 10-day intensive retreat with a healer from southern Mexico, from Oaxaca, Mexico, and her name is Doña Enriqueta Contreras. And so we studied with her for a couple of weeks, intensive study there. There were several Indigenous women. It was pretty fantastic. And then continued to do studies with her, with both of those women. And we brought Doña Enriqueta to South Dakota several times to work with our communities and on Rosebud Reservation, and continued to host monthly gatherings of relatives. You know, it was really wonderful gathering once a month. We'd bring together a bunch of women primarily. There were a couple of our male relatives that joined us, and it was really a conversation about reviving traditional midwifery practices and really reconnecting our relationship with our medicinal herbs and plants, literally going into our backyards and finding things of the relatives growing that are there to help us and healing us. And also, at the time, I think it was really a breakthrough moment of working with traditional plants and medicines, in the sense that of our conversations with about colonization and how a lot of our traditions had been broken apart. And so we lost that connection as women, our natural connection to the plants as healers for our own families. And working with plants in a practical way, a practical application way. You know, if your child has conjunctivitis, you know, rather than go to the IHS and sit there for 3 hours, you can go and get this herb and wash their eyes out, you know, those kind of things. To your plant walks along the river and find the medicines that you need for your cough, you know, your sore muscles and other ailments like this. And so it was really just a study and practice of returning to that tradition and literally putting our hands back on the plants again. And so once we were able to take folks and a lot of relatives out on plant walks, we were able to hear stories of the women who were saying, hey, I remember my auntie used to work with this and she called it that. My grandma used to work with this plant and they called it this, that, and the other thing, and this is what they did. And so it was really wonderful knowledge and skill sharing that happened down there. A lot of us happened along the riverbed. So that's sort of how I came into this work. I started under many trade names to brew medicines, I guess, remedies, traditional, not even traditional remedies. I would stay away from the word traditional even. I would just say these are common knowledge remedies that I think we all know, that are really innate in our blood. And that, yeah, I think just having folks go out there and actually put their hands on the medicine was really a groundbreaking, you know, at that time. It seemed like there was a lot of fear about it, in terms of the colonization and how our relation, it was a conversation about how plant medicines in the realm of our medicine men and how they have that relationship real specific to a medicinal plant that's their relative and their helper. And then the plants that are growing in our backyard that we use for our medicine every day, you know, as women, for our families. And so we call that the practical application. So that was really good knowledge to share and just to have that conversation about at the time. And so many years later, you know, I'm here, here in South Louisiana for about 11 years now. And yeah, I think today we wanted to focus, while I do some herbal preparation here, also just share some of the work that I've been doing in the last few years here in Louisiana. In the last year specifically, I wanted to focus on the work of our group called Delta Roots. We're a group of herbalists, folks who love to work with plants, gardeners, who, and you know, and folks that are on the front lines of different of resistance. And so we last year, before the pandemic hit, we got together, and what we wanted to do was support frontline communities, you know, Mauna Kea, we sent medicine to those folks. We sent, you know, just to different communities that are on the front lines of any kind of resistance to extractive industries. I know what it's like. We had our own pipeline resistance camp here in South Louisiana called the Louis La Vie camp. And so just having that experience and wanting to be helpful in the movement. So that's sort of what started out to be. And then as the pandemic hit and we started to lose our relatives, and we really changed our focus to working and developing remedies to help our relatives survive this global pandemic that is hitting us, to help our relatives to, you know, to ease the symptoms and help, you know, help us survive, really. We don't want to lose any more relatives. And so that's what really drives this work right now. And so the packages that we've developed over the last, I'd say, well, the last year, we've really gotten busy in doing the work more intensively, I'd say this fall. And then more recently, we've gotten our herbs in, and we've gotten some resources, so we're able to do a lot more production, but we've developed a really nice care package. One of the remedies that we've developed, and everybody's, you know, not everybody, but there's a lot of folks out there right now are talking about the elderberry syrup. This is, I don't know if you can see this. I'm sure it's all backwards to you all. I think that's how it turns out, but it's elderberry syrup. This is a really nice remedy, and we're asking folks, you know, we're providing these, and the elderberry syrup is something I think everybody should be taking at least a little tablespoonful a day just to help boost your immunity. And it's also just really good to help any of that congestion with the cough, right? Helping the lungs, helping the cough, sort of moistening up the dryness that comes along with that cough, and also just boosting the immune system. So we have some really nice herbs in our blend. Osha root, which is, of course, you know, bear root, which is very powerful medicine, as you know. Very difficult to access, and a really I don't know, we just respect that medicine a lot because we don't have a lot of access to that down here where we're at. So we use it sparingly, and we get our Osha root from relatives who harvest it for us in a sustainable way, because it's one of those herbs that's being really stressed out right now. And so there aren't a lot, you know, we just have to be really careful about that. So that's one of the herbs that we use in our elderberry cough syrup. Yes.
And so maybe you might just talk on that a little bit. What does that mean, so our audience knows that? Because I think that's a common problem everywhere, you know, harvesting in a sustainable way.
Sure. So when we're talking about that, you know, our plant relatives are having a hard time. Sometimes folks are over harvesting, and maybe they don't know how to harvest in the correct way, or you know, giving that offering. But I guess it's akin to when the pandemic hit and people were pandemic buying, I guess you would say, you know, when there was a whole rush on like toilet paper, and everyone was freaking out because there weren't going to be enough toilet paper to go around. So the same thing kind of happened with our medicinal herbs and plants last year. And when we had to buy bulk from the big herb companies, you know, so folks are pandemic buying herbs as well, so they were really hard to come by. But in particular, we talked about Osha. There were several other herbs and plants, but the Osha root is one, the very powerful medicine, bear root. So we try to do our best to get our Osha root, and we you know, our relatives harvest that for us, and in a sustainable way and a respectful way that honors our relatives, because we also want them to live, okay? Our plant relatives, we also want them to live and be healthy so that they can continue to help us as well. So we have to be respectful, and recognize their life cycle and their health as well. Does that
Mhm.
sound right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's, yeah.
So that's,
Thank you for clarifying that. Yep.
you bet. You bet. Anything, what else do you want to talk about?
I probably interrupted your flow.
I can carry on. So please just stop me whenever you want more information. I tend to carry on because I think like everybody knows, plants as well or whatever has worked and this relationship. So I forget sometimes, so
Yeah,
please,
I
yes.
think there's our viewers, we have all phases, some that are just beginning, that are wanting to learn and understand. And then we have, people that, have been doing harvesting herbs and have been making medicines. And so we have such a wide variety of people. And so, it's good to just share what that means, because I know, like in our area, the bare root, we go out into the mountains and that's where we get it. But I do know a lot of people, like you said, with the pandemic, people are going out and just harvesting a lot. So we just want to make sure that, we only take what we need. That's the hard part, because we're in a pandemic and it's like everybody wants this and everybody needs this. And, we can only harvest so much. And the other thing is we started, here we give immune support and kits. So we've been giving those out to the community, and we give, as much as we can, making our own medicines, but we can only do so much of that too. So we supplement it with, supplements from the store, vitamin C, those types of things. But it would be great to be able to, give those packets out, especially to our elders. And I see a lot of people doing that. So, that's something that we would like to move more towards as well.
That is so good to hear, and it's so necessary. I think now is the time where we need anybody and our relatives, from all of our relatives who have ever had an interest in how do you make a tea or how do you do whatever, to please come and step forward and help. There's a lot of us out here who are doing this work. Now there are a lot of Indigenous women out here doing this work. Back in the late 1900s, when I was just trying to figure this out. Though there really weren't a lot, we didn't have social media, and so I didn't have, other like colleagues or whatever. But now there are a lot of Indigenous women who are brewing beautiful medicine, and it's amazing, and I love it. And I think that this is the time for us now to come back to that and return to that tradition, because our relatives need this, and this is something that we all know how to do. So if you want to learn, please, let's figure out how to get every community to, I'm totally down to nurture our community herbalists and medicine makers right now. We really need that support, and there's only so much, like you say, that we can do. I only got one big pot. We should all have our big medicine making pot,
Yeah.
Everybody should have one of those in your house, and you're making medicine. So yeah, I totally support that. And that's one of the reasons we're doing this, really. We lost a lot of relatives, like I said, and a lot of folks that have gotten sick with COVID. And so I feel like we're always developing and really always developing and adding to our care package as we hear from the community what kind of symptoms or the ailments, like what can we do with the plants to help just soothe that and make and help our folks, have that immunity to survive, not just survive the initial infection of COVID, but to survive also the long-term effects, which we're still learning about. We're still learning about long-term effects of COVID, and people are having to So it's an ongoing conversation that a lot of herbalists are having. So yeah, I'd like to maybe share some of the remedies that we make for our COVID package now, just
Yeah, that
as
would
we're
be
going
great.
along.
Yeah, and I know that you have a protocol, you know, that you follow, and that's one of the things, you know, wellness is holistic, and everything that we do, it ties us back to Mother Earth and our connection to the land, air, and water. And so we do things in a respectful, prayerful way. And even making medicines, you know, that's so important, the energy. And we always talk about the food as well, the energy that we put into making our food and growing our own food and harvesting it and preparing it for our families. The same with medicine. And so I know that, you know, you have your protocols as well.
Yes, thank you for talking about that. It's very important if we're doing any of this community medicine making work, if we're doing any mutual community, you know, there's a lot of mutual aid groups out here. And in New Orleans, I like to say that we're really proactive, I guess you could say, about helping folks in our community survive this pandemic and looking out for folks that are really in need. So the mutual aid groups here have been really amazing in terms of just modeling, you know, what it means to be a mutual aid group, and also how we're doing this in a way that honors and is respecting each other's in terms of social distancing and just respecting each other's health and following our protocols. We've developed, I think we're one of the few cities in the United States that has really developed our protocols early on. I know folks have got them now, but we developed these early on.
Is somebody on? Here's something. Do you hear something?
You're good now. You kind of went out for a minute, but you're fine now.
Can you hear it now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I don't know what that was. I heard something. Anyway, so let's see, what was I talking about? Oh, the plants or our care packages. But I heard my earphones must be connected to somebody else's.
Oh, the Bluetooth. Are they Bluetooth earphones?
All of a sudden, I was in the middle of somebody's movie. I had to take them off. I got lost. But I'm back. Okay, so protocols for making medicine and doing any of this community mutual aid work is very, very important to follow your protocols and have them developed and make sure that everyone who's making medicine and providing meals is protecting our intended recipients. So one of the things that we do is we always wear gloves. We wear gloves. Everybody wears gloves when we're handling our medicines and preparing. And then we also wear a mask. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wear a mask at this in a minute here when I start talking about this and packaging up some of this as a demonstration. So the mask. One of our remedies is our elderberry syrup, which we talked about. We also developed this really, really amazing, it's a breathe easy, it's a respiratory salve, and we put it in these recyclable like cool tubes or push-up tubes. So they're like easy application. And so the idea with this is it's sort of like an all-natural Vicks, your all-natural Vicks.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has the herbs in here that are going to help the medicine to like really get in deep into the muscle tissue and promote healing of the lungs. So it's a really wonderful medicine right here, and also just like open up the airwaves. And I was actually talking with a friend this morning, and we talked about long-term after effects of COVID. And one of them, of course, you know, folks lose their sense of smell and the taste, right? And so she said they were talking about how there's hasn't quite returned yet weeks later, and there, all the issues. Um, and what she started to do was to use this and rubbing this on the nostrils, just right here on the inside, to help open it up and also regain that sense of smell and a balance, because it's like things are really off balance after the sense of smell returns. So there's really I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how that is. So that's one of the ways that this is also being incorporated into the wellness and the aftercare for our COVID relatives that have had COVID. So it's a really nice blend right here. And so we provide that as well in our package. There's 2 things. And then the tea blends. We have 2 tea blends that we developed. And this one, I'm gonna just be working on this a little bit here as a part of our COVID, our protocols, just to talk about that. But I think the other one I might have to make another blend. Here it is. So this one isn't labeled yet, but this is a blend right here. We made 2 tea blends. One is to promote, to help promote sleep and relaxation, because a lot of folks are talking about how it's real restless, can't sleep, lots of anxiety. So this is a blend right here that's really nice. It's got skullcap in it. And what else did we put in here? Valerian, I think. I'm gonna have to think about this one again. I don't have the label, but so there's one to promote just the rest. Okay, and this one's just to promote rest. This one here we have, it's called Take the Edge Off, and it's going to help you help with your anxiety. Also, we developed this one to help with a little anxiety and grief and heart healing. And I say this because this particular blend for the grief, we've all been dealing with this grief and the loss of our relatives since COVID set in. And so this will help you for the heart healing piece. We put in peach leaf. We added peach leaf, which is a Southern remedy for grief and heart healing. So, peach tree. So we added that to our blend. And then we've got our other herbs in here as well, and some really beautiful roses, just for the heart healing and anxiety. So those are a nice little package that we pulled together. And we also do our own hand sanitizers, that kind of stuff. So, and then we're providing, I put a bunch of the remedies out here that we work on. Just, of course, the mask, guys. Don't be afraid to wear a mask like this. I actually wear this sometimes when I go into Costco, when I go to Costco shopping or those big places. It looks crazy, but I find that these are really easier to breathe out of than even double masking. They are. They look intimidating and whatever, but they're really easy to breathe. They really are, if you ask me. And I'm telling you, I'm not the only one, okay? I've seen other people in the store with these on, so I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one. So anyway, so there's that. There's a mask. Everybody have all your masks. And then, so we do, I'll show you this fire cider. We've got one brewing here. We've got some things in brewing, but the fire cider. And so this is going to be on our next workshop. I'm really excited. So our fire cider, this is super, and we'll tell the story about the fire cider and how that came into, I guess, into existence, and who really pulled this together was a woman named, well, we'll tell the story about that the next time, but we're pulling this as part of our care package. And this is really good for, to boost your immunity every day. And also, you talk about the gut health, it's like, it's made with apple cider vinegar and a lot of really nice herbs and peppers and honey. So this is just a good wellness. And also, we've also heard that folks that have had COVID have really responded well to the fire cider and in their gut. Once they start taking it, you know, you just start
Mhm.
the wellness to start feeling the power coming back into your body. So this is a really good medicine, and we're getting this project going with our fire cider project. So I'm excited to, I'm gonna take these gloves off because we're not doing this right now, but we're getting excited to do this, share what we're doing next week with you guys on this huge
Mhm.
fire cider project we got started.
Yeah, we're so excited for that show too, and the project that you're working on with other communities. You know, maybe that's something that we might be able to do in our own community here too. So I'm real excited about that too, and the next show. So this is a 2-part series. So Anne will be back again with us, and then we'll be, you know, going over. She'll be sharing and working with a fire cider and showing, you know, how they put it together and all of that. So, yeah.
So so the protocols when you're working, you know, you're gonna have to have your mask on because you never know if you're asymptomatic or whatever. And then when you're talking, your droplets, you know, you don't want that to come onto your medicine and all of this. So it's just, you know, you put your hair up, you know, everything. Got your gloves on. And so this is a blend. I'm just gonna demonstrate a little bit about what we do. And so we made this big blend on Thursday. The group I'm with called Delta Roots. We get together now a couple times a week and we do big batches. We brew big batches of medicine. We're starting to get really handy at it now. So like this is, you know, one of our big pots, great big pot. It's always nice if you're going to be doing medicine to invest in a nice set of a pot, your spoon, your strainer, and things that you're going to use just for medicine making, just to keep that in mind. Okay. Those are really nice to have. And so this is a nice blend. I'm going to go ahead and see how pretty that is. See that, but there's a lot of rose petals in there up at the top, really good health, heart medicine, rose petals. And then the milky oats are on top as well. Those always float to the top. They're really good for your nerve system, you know, just to help calm the nerve. We have tulsi in there. We also have wood betony, the rose, the peach leaf, skullcap, and lemon balm. Those are all beautiful. It's a really nice blend. So this is what it looks like. It's in the pot, see? Real nice blend. So this is just a part of the batch that we brew, that we make. Last time we did a 5-gallon bucket full. It was kind of crazy. A lot of herbs, a lot of rose petals. So this is how you're going to do this. You know, you get yourself all masked up and everything. And then for us right now, we're just working with what we have. And so although we try to stay away from plastics and things like this and moving away from plastics, right now we're just putting everything into these Ziploc bags just because it helps to keep the herbs dry and protected during transport, and that's what we have to work with right now. So that's how we do that. I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on that pot just to protect it, because I'll be finishing that up in a few as we move on here. So that's done.
And some of your products there, people are wanting to know how they could order some of your products.
Oh, products, ordering products. That's always a good question. So, you know, a bunch of herbalists over here want to stay in the kitchen. We don't do much online. So, yeah, we're trying to figure out our process too for this. And right now, what we're doing with these COVID care packages is sending them in bulk to some of the, especially, you know, we started in Rosebud, and of course in Rosebud in the home and Rapid City, and we have a couple of communities down here that we're sending bulk packages to. And started opening it up reluctantly, but we also just need to be able to provide this to folks who want to have some in their own home. And so we're offering them the packages, the whole package. I think it's around, I want to say $40 for the whole package plus shipping. And right now, folks are just sending it to me and I'm throwing it in the pot of money that we use to buy the herbs, or really mostly shipping. I use USPS postal shipping, so it's like $15.05 for a medium box.
Yeah, and I would say to everybody out there, this does take a lot of time and a lot of energy and they're doing it, with really good intentions. So I would encourage people to, support this work and contribute to what they're doing, because it's really important. So if any of you out there, do want some of this product, I would encourage you to, contribute the value of it. And, in our way, we believe that when you give, you help something like this, it's like you're also helping yourself, that reciprocity, it comes back to us in many different ways. So, I know a lot of times as Indigenous people, we're taught to give and to be of service and to help others. So it's really hard to put a value or a monetary dollar amount on something. But at the same time, it's important that you can continue to do this, and that, so we just want to support you. And that's what I'm saying to the viewers right now. If you want some of this, the value, like, you can't really put a price tag on that, because it's so valuable what she's sharing and what they're doing. So, and maybe what we can do is we can post in here your address and your information, so we can post that in the comment section.
That'd be nice. We have, like I said, we have a web page. Of course, we haven't put anything on it because I think we spent some time at the beginning of our work, like in these meetings and like organizing and how we're going to do this and da da da. And then finally we just sort of went rogue and just like started making medicine. We're like, okay, so we did all that. Let's just like get in here and do the work. So it's still sitting there. So yeah, we need to get to that web page. It's called deltaroots.com. At some point it'll be up and live here shortly, hopefully. And
Okay.
Facebook presence. Yeah, there's just a lot to work out. We're just getting started, so have some patience with us, please. And also lend a hand if you're around. If you're savvy, lend a hand. We could use it. Yeah.
And I do know you also have your own line. Yeah,
Yes.
your own line of stuff. And I see that you just you have like a face moisturizing cream, or I seen something like that. I'm excited about that.
Oh gosh, it's so good. I wonder if I have my little I have a couple of them. I had to make some more orders. But yeah, I made this really nice beauty cream. I feel like I just outdid myself this time. I love to I spent some time just doing product development, which is a lot of fun for any herbalist to be in there just making stuff. Anyway, so I have a ton of products and I haven't been able to, I'm a single mother, so I'm raising 3 kids by myself. And so I always have to make a choice between focusing on my herbal remedies or that full-time job, because the herbal remedies, if I'm going to do this full-time, it's going to be a huge commitment. And I've decided to do that now, so I haven't been able to really put in all that I need to into my own business, but I'm starting to go back into that now. So this is the really beautiful rose hemp. It's a rose hemp beauty cream. My labels need lots of work too, guys. But anyway, rose hemp beauty cream. Get yours now. And I sell it for $30 a piece. And this has it's like 99.99% organic. And I can tell you the truth because I did the math. Making herbal remedies and working with essential oils and all this stuff does require math. Yeah, formulas do require math, so please learn how to do math. It's really important. But I use hemp seed oil, sweet almond oil, jojoba, shea butter, mango butter, argan oil, rose hip seed oil, which is so good for your face. Little bit of beeswax just to like stiffen it up for a nice cream. And then essential oils of frankincense and myrrh and rose essential oil. It is so good. And I'm telling you, just a little bit goes a long way. So this is just, one of the remedies, that beauty products that I make. This one, and I got to get into some soaps here pretty soon. I've got to order for soaps that's been on the back burner. So sorry, guys. I'll get your soaps out soon. Soaps. Oh gosh, and I also make this really good tried and true arnica salve.
Oh.
I've been doing this since the late 1900s. I've been doing this recipe for a really long time. And
very long time.
Yes. And it is so good. Oh my God. So this was a recipe that my mentor, Doña Enriqueta Contreras, this is one of the first things that she showed us how to make. And so I've been working off of that and have pulled my own version of that together. And so we're working with arnica flowers, birch bark, which is really good for muscle spasms, comfrey leaf, which is really good for tendons, healing tendons or any kind of bone fracture, calendula, which is good for healing of the skin, St. John's wort, which is a really wonderful pain reliever and also good for any kind of like nerve damage, like sciatica and nerve repair damage, echinacea root, avocado pit, lemongrass essential oil, and beeswax. Get yours now. This one is always $20. I don't ever move on the price. This is 2 ounces for $20. I put it in this cool little push-up tube as well, because I'm moving my packaging slowly from plastic. So after our pipeline wars, I'm so over it with plastics. After our water wars, swamp wars out here and fighting those damn pipelines projects, I'm over it with plastic and trying to move everything away from plastics.
Yeah, so, maybe Anne, you might just share a little bit about that, the connection to what you're doing now and how that connects to, the work that you've been doing for many years, setting up for the earth.
So the No Bayou Bridge pipeline resistance camp that we called Louis La Vie camp down here in South Louisiana is the Bayou Bridge pipeline was the tail end of the Dakota Access pipeline that came down here to South Louisiana and then to the terminus in St. John terminus down there, where it was going to be exported out to other countries. Not a drop here in the United States was ever going to serve us. The terminus is, of course, Black community. They call themselves Cancer Alley right now. It's really, they have a really hard time down there. They're at the end of all these pipelines and chemical projects in their community. So that was one of the communities that we were also fighting for their health and wellness, as well as this pipeline project that was going to come across some 700 waterways. So we had permission from the Atakapa Ishak tribal nation, came out to the land and blessed it and gave us permission to occupy their traditional homelands for this resistance camp. And so the resistance camp is 11 acres. That's now become a food forest called Indian Bayou. So a couple of weeks ago, we went out and transplanted some elderberries from the bayou down here in St. Bernard Parish from another Indigenous woman who was on our advisory council. She gave me a bucket of elderberry transplants. So I took them out to the camp and we planted them out there to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the idea is to, what's a food forest to feed, folks, but also this particular piece of project to provide medicine for our medicine makers, right? Medicine grove of elderberries and whatever else we can get going at some point. But we talk about food sovereignty, and I think that also has to include our health and wellness. Like, is it medicine? I don't know what the word is for that. What is it called? Medicinal sovereignty. I don't know what it is along foods and medicine, but
yeah, it's all connected. We always hear the term used all the time, holistic, but it's a way of life. It was a way of life for our people, and everything was connected. The food is connected. It's like our emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, everything is connected. And so, that's a part of it, the medicinal side of it. And one of the things, like, I wanted to share with my grandmother, Nellie Tubals in Kalatoe, she's gone now, but one of the things that she would talk about with and share with me, one of the stories was how she received her Lakota name, Bluebird Woman, and how it came to her in a vision. And I'm not going to go into all of it, but one of the gifts that she was given, these women came to her, and these women, they were all, they were all different, but each one of them brought her a gift. And they said she was gonna have all of these gifts, but one she was gonna excel in, and she was gonna be, that was gonna be her primary gift, and that was her gift of voice and singing, but also the gift of medicines. And her grandmother was a medicine woman. She knew all about the medicines. So it's, we're giving all of these things, and it's our responsibility to live that way and to look at it as a way of life, not just compartmentalize it. Here is food sovereignty, over there is medicines, over there is the physical, it's like, it's all connected. And so I think when people out there, especially the dominant society, when they use holistic or use some of these words, like, they don't really understand what that fully means. And all of it is really being connected to the earth, to the land. And I think that's what you were sharing about with, these camps and, the pipelines, and how it really destroys the earth and damages the earth. And we have to really look at sustainability. And so I'm glad that you shared about that.
Yeah, we literally stopped the pipeline from coming through that camp. At one point, they had plans to push that pipeline right through the camp. And so we said, no way. That's not going to happen here. And so as private landowners, we really set a precedence as well as private landowners, in a sense, to stand up against a pipeline and say, no, you're not coming through this. I think we're the only landowners that the pipeline rerouted around because we put up such a resistance. We talked about my dad earlier, and he had told us to, early on, and some dreams came through and said, tell Anne to make sure she makes her prayer flags, right? So we made lots of prayer flags out there to protect that land. And so we're really proud of what the work that we did to stop that pipeline from coming around on there, and that now we're using that to fulfill the vision, really, to save that land and fulfill a vision that we had to have a sustaining place, sustaining for our people. And as a result of that fight down here, there are several of us that are facing felony charges for the state's anti-protest laws. They have those anti-protest laws that came up after Standing Rock. So Indiana went pretty hard. And so, yeah, we've got about another close to 2 years to wait before it sort of times out on those. But yeah, there's over a dozen of us who are facing felony charges on the anti-protest laws. So I have actually 2. So I could go to prison for up to 10 years in South Louisiana for for this protest. They call the anti-protest work or whatever, but it's, it's not protest work. We're doing what we're supposed to do to protect the land. It's not a protest. It's never been a protest. It's about protecting.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. The Center for Constitutional Rights is representing us. So if you want more information on that, I'm also the lead plaintiff in a court case against the state of Louisiana, challenging that protest law. It's called White Hat versus Landry, if you're interested in reading up on that. So say some prayers for us as well. Water protectors.
Yeah, definitely. And I encourage all of the viewers and listeners to, collectively our prayers are powerful. And if there's any way, you can support in that as well, that would be great.
Yep. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. So there was two things that you talked about, are two different, the work that you're doing. So one is, your involvement with Delta Roots and the group of herbalists and what you're providing for communities. And then the other was your personal product line. So, some of our viewers really want to see how they could order your personal products and some of the items that you just shared, like the face cream and the salves and.
Facebook, White Hat Botanicals.
Okay.
White Hat Botanicals at Gmail is my email. Again, I have I have my website name. I don't have my website up, so I'm working on it piece by piece here. So stay tuned. It'll happen, y'all.
But okay, White Hat Botanicals on Facebook.
That's right. Yep.
And then your Gmail or your email was what?
White Hat Botanicals at Gmail.
Okay. All right. I will post that in the comments in this session here, so you guys can take a look at that.
Cool.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us, Anne?
Please continue to follow your protocols. Double masking. They're calling for everyone to double mask. Look, somebody made me this cool mask for our camp. So I'm double masking. L'eau la vie.
Oh, that's cool. Wow. I love that.
Got our crawfish. See, we like crawfish down here. So this is what L'eau la vie crawfish mask. So you want to make sure that you masked up. Follow the protocols, guys. We're in this for a long haul here, and take care of each other. Keep saying your prayers, and take care of each other.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Anne. And I just want to remind everybody she's going to be back again. So I was so excited for this. I'm just proud of everything that you're doing. And I know that your dad would be proud of you too, or he is proud of you. And so keep it up, and we'll be back with her again, and she's going to be demonstrating making fire cider and, the big batches that they're doing right now in different communities. So she'll share more about that on our next show. So I want to encourage everybody to join us again, and just want to thank, all of the viewers for joining us. And this program is really about bringing information and just helping all of us, all of our communities, and become more aware, but also, things that we can do in our own communities and that we can do for ourselves. So I want to encourage everybody, take care of yourself. Self-care is, you can only, and for Anne too, because when you give, you're a giver. Sometimes you can keep giving, and you deplete yourself. So it's really important to take care of ourselves as well, mind, body, spirit, so that we can continue to be of service and to help each other. So just want to say that in closing, and thank you for joining us today. And it was fun, and I just love your energy. And that's what some people were posting. I love your energy, Anne. And so thank you. Yeah.
Lila will.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, viewers, thank you for joining us. And you can come back and watch this program again. It'll be posted on our Facebook page, Yellowbird Lifeways. And we'll see you next week, next Saturday at the same time. Have a beautiful week. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.